The prequel film Pearl, I thought this was a nice addition considering the character we know from the movie X. And while not everything is great about this movie, I at least thought it was interesting to say the least. Taking place decades before the events of the movie X, this one follows the life into Pearl, once again played by Mia Goth. And well, from there, we see the origin story for this villain and how crazy she ended up being. I will say, when it comes to prequel movies, usually I'm not too nice to it because I've seen some prequel films over the years that are pretty downright bad. But when it comes to this movie, I felt it was alright. And while there's not a whole bunch of characters in this film, we do look into the mind of Pearl. We find out what makes her tick. We find out how absolute crazy she is. And this movie pays homage to the golden age of cinema, particularly The Wizard of Oz. Now, this is still a slasher movie, but it's not in the vein of what X was when it had released earlier this year. This is more of a characterization of Pearl herself. Nonetheless, though, at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, this is just a middle-of-the-road slasher movie. Man, I have to say, Mia Goth's portrayal of Pearl in this movie was just fantastic. She gives her A-game in this role, and I must say is that she really made this role her own. This is like the equivalent of a female Joker. Now, we seen Pearl in X, we saw how crazy she was, and how she just pretty much just went deranged in that movie. But in this one, these are the events that led her towards that dark path. And really, there is another actress in this film that I give credit to. That's Tandy Wright, who played Ruth. I thought her portrayal was real good because originally I was thinking, oh man, this is going to be a one-dimensional character. But nah, there's actually a scene in the movie where she gives a good performance. And then, you know, when it comes to other characters, there's really no one else knowable. This film's simply about Pearl and everything that led up to who she became in X and who she is. And I must say that acting-wise, not everyone else in this film is great, honestly. But it reminded me of the golden age of Hollywood movies, particularly how it doesn't have the horror-esque effect that the movie X had. Because in a lot of ways, this is still a slasher film, but it doesn't feel like a horror film. It feels like it's in, well, what can I say? It's in its own place. That's what I'm trying to say here. But for the most part, I feel like a lot of people probably won't like this movie because it doesn't have the same tempo as the X film. But nonetheless, if you're curious, you can check it out. But I read reviews online. This is middle of the road. And I'm thinking pretty much here, this film could have been a little bit better, but for the most part, I think it's just decent for what it is. I don't give this movie a 6 out of 10. And no, I don't find this movie boring. I don't think it's a bad film. But honestly, it's a better movie because there are more likable characters. Seriously, who you gonna root for in this film? Not Pearl, because she's basically the bad guy. Other than Mia Goth and Tandy Wright performances, the characters they played was great. Everything else was alright. Didn't downright hate this film, but I just thought, from a story perspective, it could have been written a little bit better in my opinion. Nonetheless though, this movie's not perfect, but at least it's not downright atrocious either. And that is my review of the film Pearl. Alright, leave your comments down below in the section and let me know what you think about this movie if you have seen it. Okay, this is Slim Guy 172 saying peace out.